Good morning or afternoon or whatever day it is or whatever time it is for you. This is lesson number 4. Today we're going through sun salutation A and variations with sun salutation. So you made it through setup of your class or your practice in a simple pose that works for you. We made it through some simple warm-ups. And now we're getting into a little bit more heat building. So like it says in the guide, sun salutations or Surya Namaskar are made to build heat. They're made to get the body moving in as many ways to get hamstring flexibility, core strength, upper body strength, just to feel heated. So we're going to carry on. If Vinyasa yoga, which is a flow-based yoga based with the sun salutations, is not your particular style that you prefer, that's totally okay. You can skip sun salutations or do these little easy variations if you'd like to, because I will do some modifications. So if you were starting standing, you would probably stay standing and start with sun salutations. If you're on the ground, however, the best way, I have a way that I transition to standing that I always do, and hey, get out of the way. That I always do, and I always do it in this particular way because it helps me feel safe and it helps the class not move in a jarring way. So if you're lying down, you come up to seated, or if you're in child's pose or wherever, you'll roll yourself up to a tabletop position. Tabletop position. So in tabletop position, we want to make sure the hands are underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. And here you can do some more warm-ups and movements. One I also really like is a spinal extension. One leg back, opposite arm forward, and we pull and release. Really great core heat builder. But anyway, we're in tabletop, and this is where we're going to transition into downward facing dog. So from tabletop, you've got stacked joints, knees and hips, shoulders and wrists. We're going to move a little bit wider. A couple ways we can do this. We can either walk the hands forward in front of the shoulders, but one way to really test the distance of your down dog and get in a good right distance is to step your feet straight back into a plank pose. Hopefully this feels okay. Avoid the sagging. This tends to happen. Instead, press so you're lifted slightly, looking down in between the hands. Now this might feel a little bit taxing on your body. If that's the case, just come down to your knees. But instead of knees here, our knees are back. So we start in plank, decide if you want to be on the knees or staying on the toes. From there, press into the hands, tuck your chin, you can bend the knees slightly, and just press yourself back. What that's gonna do when you bend your knees and press your hips up and back is take the weight off of your arms and into more of your core. So use your core to press back, energy through the tailbone. And we start this first down dog, and we don't stay here for very long. So to get up to standing, we either walk the feet forward or the hands back. I'll usually walk my feet forward to my hands, spend some time in a forward fold, shake it out. It's called ragdoll position. You can sway, and it really does help to bend the knees. So keeping the back flat, rather than being here and trying to wave your hands everywhere, you see this round in my back, we want to keep that out. So you bend the knees, get your belly between the legs, kind of hang in a comfortable position. And to stand, bend the knees and roll yourself up for the first time with feet about hip distance apart. And that's how you get up to standing pose from the ground. So going over that again, if you're seated, wherever you roll forward to hands and knees, step the feet back into plank, press into the hands, lifting the body, slight bend in the knees, shift back, looking back towards the toes. Straighten out the legs whenever appropriate, and then walk your feet forward. Soft bend in the knees, roll yourself to standing. And here we go. For sun salutation, we can start with feet hip distance or feet together. That's a preference of yourself or the teacher. So feet together, this is called mountain pose. Feet together or apart, again, up to you. You're lifted through the kneecaps, nice and strong. Feel every corner of each foot pressing into the earth, into the ground, so you're grounded, but then rising up. So lifted through the kneecap, engage your quads. Hips are neutral, so not sticking out, not fully tucked in, but this neutral long style. And then we keep lifting, 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 shoulders slightly back, abs, belly nice and firm, palms face forward this time, and you're just standing tall, mountain pose. So our first sun salutation, we'll do the variation that does not involve a push-up. So feet to where it's comfortable, mountain pose. As you inhale, reach and extend the arms overhead. Exhale, open the arms, diving down. So notice I'm not just rounding down, it's a dive down, leading with your heart with this flat back. Hands can be even behind the plane of your body. A little bend in the knees and fold to the ground. Forward fold, standing forward fold. Hands to your shins for a half lift or a flat back extension. Inhale. Exhale as you plant your hands. And for this one, we step back to plank pose. Just like we did before, soft bend in the knees and press back right to downward facing dog. And you can stay here in down dog for a few breaths, even taking movement to pedal the feet. And after a few breaths, walking forward. There's always this little prep breath here now. We lift halfway, look forward, inhale, exhale, fold it down, then look forward and reach those arms out and up to reverse swan dive to standing. Hands then come down to your heart or to your side, standing in mountain pose. That's version 1 without any of the push-ups. Version 2 is modified push-up. So we reach those arms up, inhale, exhale, open the arms, swan dive. Lengthen, inhale. Exhale, plant your hands, wide fingers under the shoulders, step the feet back to plank pose. Then take your knees down. Elbows point towards the back of the room, look slightly forward, bend the elbows up to 90 degrees or less. Press to this modified up dog, lifted with the knees still down. Then look down, press into the hands, do your best to use core strength to draw yourself back to downward facing dog. Again, hold a couple breaths. Downward facing dog, our feet are hip distance apart, fingers are spread wide, and draw the shoulders out of the ears and down the back. If you're feeling the tightness in the hamstrings, you can take the feet wider, or up in the shoulders, take the hands wider. And of course, I am hyper flexible in some areas, so what you do may not look like me. You'll notice my elbows and my back, I can dip really down really low. So I actually consciously have to lift up a little bit, but each body is different. Okay, step it forward. Again, with a half lift from forward fold. Exhale, down. Inhale, look forward and rise up, hands overhead. Hands by your side. Now, full sun salutation A involves what we call a chaturanga. And I'm going to go through and break that down a little bit more as after we go through this one sun salutation with the chaturanga. So with the chaturanga, reach your arms up overhead. Oh. Oops. Just a couple little glitches. Okay. So standing in mountain pose, top of the mat, reach those arms up. Inhale. Exhale, swan dive. Inhale, flat back, look forward, hands on the shins. Exhale, plant the hands and step back to plank pose. Okay, here's where it gets a little tricky. This is where your tricep strength comes in, your core strength, everything. So you're gonna lift through your body. And in the guide, this is something that I typically do in my classes, is I'll have people shift forward on an inhale, shifting forward so your shoulders, notice they're over my, in front of my wrists. That's gonna make it easier for my elbows to come to 90 degrees, right here. Flipping the toes, look to up dog, so the knees are off the floor. Look forward, shoulders roll back and down, chest lifted. This is more about opening the heart than it is about crunching in the back. So I'm gonna lift, you can even lift through the core a little bit more. Shoulders back, chest open. Then look down, press into the hands. Again, core strength to draw back to downward facing dog. Hold a few breaths. If downward facing dog becomes a bit much and you hold for 3 to 5 breaths, take it down to child's pose. even a whole different option. If you're in child's pose, bring it forward. I do this sometimes for a warm-up. Forward inhale, exhale, through tricep push-up, lower to your belly. Lift to cobra, that means hands are light, and you're just lifting the chest, looking forward. Lower back down, then press to child's pose, or down dog. So that's a nice little warm-up, mini baby sun salutation. Shift forward, lower, lift to cobra, back down, press through tabletop into child's pose. Okay, go back to our chaturanga. So I have this strap here to show you, if you have a strap or a belt or something that you can make a loop, this is a really great exercise or tool to notice where you should be in that tricep push-up pose. If you don't quite have the strength to hold right here, or maybe you're feeling like you're doing this type of thing, oh my gosh, don't hurt your shoulders. I know from personal experience, if you go too low here, notice my shoulders are too far below my elbows, that can hurt your shoulders a lot. Not right away, it's not going to be instantaneous, but it is going to be a long-term injury that can happen, and I've done that too many times. So anyway, we have a strap, and if you have a loop or something, I just want to show this example to you, because it's something I do in my beginner yoga classes all the time when we go through sun salutation. Because if they come to another class that doesn't have the breakdown, I want them to know how it feels to do chaturanga, which is our tricep push-up. A little bit different than a tricep push-up. The Sanskrit name is actually chaturanga dandasana. So here we go. So this is going to be about shoulder width, right? So I have the strap right, the loop, don't mind the scale, is right above my elbows. Then from there, so pretend like you're in plank on your knees if you're here, bring it down, straight down. So the strap should be below your chest. If we're here, that's too much. Notice my shoulders are just not cool. So we're gonna bring it below the chest. Don't worry, there is space. So below your chest. And this is where you'll be in a plank pose. So if I'm standing, this is plank pose. Basically you're in mountain pose with a bend in your elbows. And this strap is going to carry you, so it helps you feel where you need to be. So if you come up into plank pose with this strap, or belt, or whatever it is, shift it way forward and then catch yourself on your rib cage. You're like, okay, that's pretty comfortable. It's like a nice little carriage option. And I could stay here for a long, long time. My arms aren't doing any work. Of course, there's pressure on my ribs from the strap, but it's not hard. So then, after you catch yourself here, notice, like, okay, let me try that without the strap, with that same position and same type of thing. Shift, lower. Ooh, it's a lot harder. But of course, there's option on your knee. It's better to, on your knees, so it's better to build strength where you are than have bad form in what you think you should be doing. So, that means take your options. If you want to just skip that all entirely until you build more strength from down dog and other poses, do it. Okay, so we're going to go through a couple more sun salutations. I hope I didn't really talk through the poses a ton. I mean, plank and chaturanga, just make sure that our joints are stacked and that just practice it. Just feel comfortable. In the PDF guide, you do see some of the breakdown and some cues and whatnot. So I'm going to go through a couple more sun salutation A's. First one's going to be really slow, as if I were teaching a class. So these are the cues I would use for brand new people when I'm teaching a class. So we're going to step to the top of the mat with your feet together. Palms face forward, mountain pose. Roll the shoulders back and stand up tall. Arms reach up to the side and overhead. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, open those arms and swan dive to a forward fold. Feel free to bend the knees as much as you need to. Lengthen, lifting halfway, look forward. And exhale, plant your hands down and step into a plank pose. We're going to hold in plank pose a couple breaths, maybe 3 or so, to notice where our strength is and how we're feeling. So press into the hands, Make sure shoulders are over the wrists and looking right at the top of the mat. At any time, you can drop the knees. That might feel better today. Okay, shift forward on the toes. Bend the elbows up to 90 degrees from your knees or your toes. Chaturanga. Lift your heart, pointing the toes behind you to upward facing dog. How's it feeling? Okay? Okay, keep going. Look down, roll it back using your core strength, or send your hips up and back, flipping over the toes, or not rolling, but flipping the feet when appropriate. So you'll notice you're in down dog, your heels are slightly turned out, knees bent as needed. Send the shoulders down the back, and breathe in deeply, gazing back towards the knees or the toes. We'll take a few breaths. Breathing in and out through your nose, down into your belly. If you're questionable about your distance from down dog, from your hands to your feet, you can shift to plank pose, press back. And notice. Heels may or may not ever touch the floor. Okay, from there, bend your knees, look forward and inhale. Exhale, step or jump forward. Lengthen on the inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, look forward and rise. The hands rising up, hands overhead, and hands by your side. I'm going to do a couple more, just because. Now we go a little bit faster. So each breath is connected to a movement. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, swan dive. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, step back to plank. I add an extra breath here. Hope you don't mind. You don't have to if you don't want to. Inhale and plank, shifting on the toes. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward, bend the knees, or you could hold a few breaths. Exhale, step or jump forward. Lengthen, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, standing tall in mountain pose. One more time, reach up, inhale. Exhale, swan dive. Inhale, look forward, lengthen. Exhale, step or jump back. I'm going to step back. Jumping back is hard on the back. From your knees or toes, shift forward. Exhale, chaturanga, look forward. Elbows to 90 degrees. Up dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward. Inhale. Exhale, step or hop forward. Forward fold. Inhale, lengthen the back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise. Hands by your side. So that is sun salutation A. Of course, through those sun salutations, you can add, I'll be kneeling, you can add in between side bends, twist. You can add different things. Even in your down dog, you can add little skiers. You can go slow or fast. You can add core work, mountain climbers. If you're into that fitness type stuff, you can add some stuff there to build heat. Of course, stretch out your wrists. I know sometimes they start to feel stuff when you're working. So stretch out your wrists. Okay, so that is sun salutation A. I hope that was a good enough explanation. For that, please practice different variations. You can even just do the baby variation from child's pose, skipping, chaturanga, whatever you need to do. Just practice a little bit more movement, because this series, these few poses that's in it, this series is meant to continue to warm us up. So it's not something that's going to build muscles super fast or burn your calories. Like, it's not about that at all. It's about making your body feel good. And also, traditionally, just to tell you, it's called the sun salutation because traditionally when you practice yoga, it's in the morning and you turn towards, you're facing the east, towards the rising sun. So you're saluting the sun, basically, like, hey, all hail sun. It's nothing, it's not like religious or anything. Nowadays, it's just a great warm up for your practice. So if you, again, same thing, if you did, your personal practice was just your simple warm-ups and maybe a few sun salutations, you are more than doing great in a personal yoga practice.
It only needs to be maybe 10 to 15 minutes. So if you think about it, give it 5 minutes each, like 5 minutes of seated meditation style where you're checking in, 5 minutes of simple warming up, and then 5 minutes of sun salutations. You're doing pretty good. So thank you for watching, and lesson number 5, tomorrow will be sun salutation B, where we're adding some lunge variations to this same series. After that, we'll have a break for the weekend, and then we'll be back with lesson 6 next week. So you'll be able to practice a little bit more this weekend and next week as well. So we're going to keep adding on. Hope this has been great for you. I've been having a really fun time teaching so far, and I can't wait to hear your comments and how you're doing. See you next time.